Here we go. I am honored and a little bit nervous for this one. This is an interview with one of the biggest speakers, one of the most important speakers to come out of the fitness industry. And those that are from the fitness industry, there is no introduction needed. Everybody knows who Tom Plummer is. But the rest of us, or the rest of you guys that are not from the fitness industry, don't know who Tom is. And Tom is an icon in business, not just in the fitness industry, but he's been working in the fitness business industry for over 40 years. Prior to the pandemic, he was in front of more than 5,000 people a year through numerous speaking engagements, lectures, workshops worldwide. Every client we've ever worked with has been to a Tom Plummer workshop of some sort. He founded the Thomas Plummer Company in 1990, which eventually became the National Fitness Business Alliance, known as the NFBA, in 2003. He's authored 10 books on the business of fitness, which have remained best-selling books in the industry for over 20 years. Several of the books are currently used as textbooks in numerous college programs for their source for fitness business education. You know, this is a big deal. His books have sold over 250,000 copies worldwide. So a lot of times people get into a business, get their business going, in, let's say in the consulting world, and then they niche down into an industry. Tom has taken this industry to places it never would have gone, hadn't been for his expertise. And the way he does it is he's brutally honest. He's a brutally honest advisor. If you've used him as a consultant, you know that. He pulls no punches. He's a true visionary in this fitness industry, especially right now. He sheds lights on some numerous controversial topics in the fitness space and how he managed to do so time and time again. During the pandemic, Tom has written and presented a series of letters. He called 7 letters to his readers. They began with a warning of the pending shutdowns and went all the way through to navigating how to reopen successfully. A lot of people disappeared during the pandemic in the fitness industry because their businesses were closed. Who knows how much money Tom lost from 2020 till today, just because of all that. But he gave. He got down in the trenches. He rolled up his sleeves and he went to work. It's a new world. In order to survive it, you need new ways of thinking and solutions that require thinking to be critical. And that's what Tom brings to the table. I am so excited to hear his perspective on what it takes for us to regain our health, reset our belief systems, and get moving again. So without any further ado, help me welcome the great Tom Plummer. And there he is, the great Tom Plummer. How are you doing today, Tom?
I am doing well. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on today. I'm looking forward to this. Appreciate your time. And it's a worthy cause. I'm excited. So I'm anxious to get after this. Your questions were a great teaser. And I'm sitting there going, I can't wait to get into this. So,
well, how do you think we felt when we want to know how you answer these questions, So I'm sure a lot of the audience that's tuning in are, the folks from at least the fitness industry know who you are, and they can't wait to see this conversation as we start to leave the lockdowns and try and get back to some type of lifestyle that we remember, and some of the things that have changed and what we're bringing with us and what we're leaving behind as well. And we just want to tap into your 40 years of experience. And one of the things I like about this interview is you're the guy that's always pushed the envelope. You make people think. You make people defend their own positions or their own beliefs to where they might go, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I never thought of that. Or they go, no, I'm right, and here's why. And like when you coach and you consult with people, you have the ability to bring out the best of them. But at the same time, you're respected and loved by people all over the country. Your articles about why retention was a problem, how the pandemic will last longer than expected. You said that early on, and I know that ruffled a lot of feathers because we thought it was going to be 2 weeks. That's what we were told. And then all of a sudden, Tom Plummer comes up and says, no, hold on here. This is going to last a lot longer than they're telling us right now. And people were in an uproar over hearing that. Or coming out of the 2009 fitness industry when it hit the rock bottom, you pointed at it and said, we're rock bottom, folks. We've only got one direction to go. And that's some of the things you've always done. So to hear you at this point in time is really, really important. Were you ever sorry that you picked any of those topics to speak on?
The only regret on it is sometimes I wish I would have hammered harder because I think it would have saved more gyms. It would have made more of a difference. Coming out of 2000, the big recession, the Great Recession, a lot of guys stumbled and failed there for different reasons, but it was a natural correction. But some of those that could have been avoided. I looking back on 2000 or 2020, I wish I would have pounded a lot of guys harder. We lost at least 30% of the gyms in the country. In my line of work, you have to kind of lead people and tell them, okay, this is where I think it's going to go, because if we have a plan, I can work backwards with that plan and help them get there. So you kind of got to know what we're trying to get done, and telling people that we're going to lose 30% of the gyms in the country is not something anybody wanted to hear. And a lot of these guys that closed, some was self-inflicted, a lot of anger, politics entered the gym field last year, and that kind of hurt a lot of gyms, maybe cost some guys some gyms last year. That's a hard one to overcome. But I wish I would have screamed louder about the virus. All the data was there. Everything was pointing toward it. Everything was pointing toward May of this year, which is really what it turned out to be. We got that down, and the guys that listened they got into it for the long haul, and many of them survived because they at least knew how dig in, be prepared. The client was overwhelmed. The guys that reached out and touched their clients, stayed in contact, worked with the clients, they had a better chance of surviving it. So if you know it's going to be the long haul, you can prepare for that. And the guys that did, I think, did better than others. But yeah, it was a long year and a half.
Sure was. And it's still going in some senses too. We have some clients and friends up in Canada that are just getting ready to open next week. I mean, in Ontario they're still closed. So
yeah.
We're not all the way in yet. And now you were talking about following a roadmap. If I have a plan to follow, there was no plan, right? There was no reference point, nothing to look back at and say, here's how we did it last time. And yet you came out with this series of 7 letters, well-written letters, trying to really not just forecast where we were going, but how to prepare, what to do, what you think is the best call to action for these owners to do. And you kept reinforcing leadership. You're a leader. Connect with your community while you're closed. Focus on their health, their immunity. And that's not what people were focusing on at the time. We were mad at the government, and everyone's screaming at, what's going on with my mayor and you're saying, focus on the community, reach out to them, stay in touch with them. What type of feedback were you hearing from the owners as you were releasing these letters?
That's probably a 2 bottle of wine question, Bob. I'm going to fly out and have dinner with you, because to do that justice, I need to get off camera and scream a little. That it was well, first of all, you had some very interesting parts of that statement. Is there's always a plan. There is, even in the worst nightmare, there's precedent. The recessions were precedent for what happens when there's an outside force trying to destroy your business. There's always precedent. There's always a way forward. What brought this in was the emotional impact of this. And that's where a lot of the guys went bad. I probably lost, I've been around, as you noted, for 40 years, and I've been very blessed with thousands of people I've worked with over the years. I probably lost 100, 150 people last year that I would just not look forward to ever talking to again. They would call, they were so angry at politics, so angry about when I would say, look, just, you own a business, stop. No matter which side you're on, 60% of the people hate you, the 40% on the other side, and the 20 in the middle, everybody hates you. So stay out of politics, stay out of the rant, stay out of I have a right to do it. I have a right to express myself. I have a right to go forward. Many of those guys were on the right side of the spectrum, and the trend last year was to express that more forcibly than we have in the past. But when you do that, you have a right not to do a mask. You have a right to do that. But your clients have a right to take their business somewhere else. And a lot of gyms closed down because they just pissed their clients off so much. And it's like, do you not understand? Well, I'm going to open, and I've got 20 guys that'll be in here tomorrow because I'm not doing a mask. And you've got 200 guys that'll never show up in this gym again because you're an idiot. Because, you just, and that's what happened. And there was a lot of surprises last year with that.
Yeah, and you would point out things that you kind of expected, but I believe this would be considered a piece of advice. You said you've got to create this environment for the people who are terrified to return. That's the environment you want to create. don't create the environment for those that are standing on your sidewalk waiting for your door to open, right? Keep creating your environment for the terrified ones. What was so important about doing it that way?
A couple aspects on that. If you think about it, if looking back now, we've got people that have not been in the gym in a year and a half. They're all now. That person wants to come back to the gym. How do you're a fitness virgin again? You're what you thought you knew. I mean, especially clients over 40. I hate to say clients over 50, people of a certain age. But you take 2 years off from the gym membership, yes. You're starting over. So you look at those type of folks. That's a startup. Now we go back and look at the folks when all of a sudden there's a virus, and the risk factor is so high. And I was telling the guys to look at it. There's 3 clients out there. There's a client that I won't wear a mask. You can't make me wear a mask. I'm coming to the gym. I'm going to hug people, and I'm just going to do that. And welcome to certain parts of the country that still are fighting that battle. 1/3 is in the middle is just like, show me leadership. Show me, this. I want to see you doing the right things, but I'm going to trust you to keep me safe. And 1/3 are terrified. But that terrified force, if you lose 1/3, 40% of your members because people are terrified to come to your gym, the question I wanted the guys to ask is, what is the client seeing that they're terrified to set foot in the gym? And yet you see it every day, especially the chains really, I think, dropped it last year. They had a chance to really exert some great leadership and to really show the way. But I drove by a big box gym not too far from my house in the middle of last year, and I'm sitting out in the parking lot. They were still allegedly partially opened. I was living in Florida at the time, and I'm watching people walk up the door, and there's just got to grab the door to open it. This is a 40,000 foot box from a national chain. And I'm like, why didn't somebody put up a little buzzer or something where the door opens? No, got to grab the door to open the door. I'm thinking already, if I was nervous, which I was last year, being a guy of a certain age, and I'm looking at this going, how do you get in this gym? You're going to wait for somebody to open the door so you can slide in.
Right.
And, you come in, and then they put a sign every other treadmill, and that's supposed to be safe. And you got a 19-year-old kid with a bottle of hand sanitizer rubbing, treadmills or something instead of, they just blew it. So that terrified client, they didn't want to leave us. And that's when I tried to get most of the guys to switch over, which I think this is going to be a big part of our future in the fitness industry is, if you're a training client in my gym, you've been around, you're a guy of experience, you're educated, you're a perfect one-on-one client, perhaps. Well, now you're working at home. You're sitting at your home. 60% of the people aren't coming back. Maybe you're afraid of the gym. Maybe you will come back. But what did I do to keep you there? Instead of just doing workouts online and trying to schedule you in front of Zoom, the guys that did it right created a whole different company within a company, went online. I would send you like 6 days a week of fitness tips. Here's some videos, how to stay safe, foods to help your immune system. The guys that went all in and bridged that gap to keep a terrified client as part of the family. But that guy also what did you read last year? What did you do? You were terrified. Right. So the gym owners that showed the leadership and reached to those terrified clients and said, look, here's what I'm going to do to keep you safe. You may not want to be in the gym for a couple months. Here's what we can do at home. I'll order the equipment from you and get it to your house if you're unsure. I will set up online help to do that. I'm going to give you 6 days a week of emails, newsletters, text, anything that you need to keep you going. And I'm here. What can I do to help you? And that guy would be the first client to come back when things did lighten up. But the gyms that didn't do that didn't understand that terrified feeling. When the client wanted to come back, he just went to another gym because we lost him. Because we lost him because we didn't show leadership. And there was a lot of gyms that didn't do it and a lot of gyms that did do it. But that client was the pivotal client. That's the one to determine really a year from that date if you're going to be in business, because if that client stayed loyal and stuck with you, he probably paid during that. He or she probably stuck with you all the way through. A lot of the little training gyms, their clients paid the entire time they were closed. You know, you're talking about 200 people going, we're going to support this gym. And mainstream gyms were, you know, they got people in mass walking out because they didn't do anything like that. They wanted the money, but they sure didn't want to take the leadership.
Now, at the same time, the public's health has really suffered because of this, because they couldn't connect, they didn't connect, or maybe they tried to and they were afraid to and they went back. But, you know, the studies are showing now that people gain between 2 and 3 pounds each month since we were closed, which is 20 to 30 pounds of extra weight, not working out. Like you said, they're brand new now. They're newbies. They turned off their exercise for a year. If they weren't getting any tips on nutrition, there's nothing working for mindset. And there's a lot of negative narrative out there. People are really worn down right now. Do you see that as like we're in the middle of a health epidemic right now, or is this just something to be concerned about?
We weren't the skinniest nation on the planet prior to the vaccine.
Well said.
Yeah. I've got some clients in Paris and some of them in southern France I still work with, and they kid me all the time. There was a big news story over there about 3 years ago where all the young Parisian teenagers were going down and sitting at the airport watching the fat Americans get off the planes. That was entertainment on a Saturday afternoon, because, you know, the Americans get off with the stereotypical 40-year-old guy with a T-shirt on with some kind of big logo on it, cargo shorts, real fat, ball cap on, usually backwards, and they were laughing at all these goofy Americans, and they finally had to run them out of the airport. It was a hilarious story, but wow. So I'm not thinking we were the skinniest country going into this. But what happened last year for the client is that it was a time of reset. What I wish the fitness industry would do is sometimes, especially our younger coaches and participants, is we make it too hard. You know, just last year, the thing that I wanted to tell anybody I knew, if I could get one message and stand up for 3 minutes and tell everybody in America is this, it's just, first of all, it's just go walk. Just walk. Try to walk, an hour a day, and just, get away from people. If you feel comfortable, put your mask on, do what you're going to do, but move, just walk. But we set up such unrealistic goals for what it has to happen to get people moving again. And even in the bigger cities where there is some congestion, just the ability to get out. You don't need a $3,000 bicycle that ties me into 40 people dancing semi-naked in New York to get in shape. It's just, if nothing else, take the dog, take the kid. The dog and the kid are both fat too, because you're fat. So get your ass out, just move a little. But the gyms, we tend to make it too hard. So I think I love your point there. I think the renaissance should be to go back and just understand and restore natural movement. We need to go backwards a little, where, I want you in the gym and we want to work on your structure and we want to work on mobility and stability. We want you to do all these things that we preach about in the business. But, just walk, and let's start there, because you're going to feel better. You walk 2 or 3 times a week, your blood pressure is coming down. Maybe some of the precursors to type 2 might go away in your life. Maybe some things, you'll just feel better. And then let's build and start from there as a community. So I think we set unrealistic goals for our folks out there. And anybody that's listening to this, it's, seek a professional, find a gym eventually, because muscle is structure and it is longevity. It is how to live youthful when you get older. But it's also, there's so many things you could be doing on your own just to improve the quality of your life through fitness. Fitness isn't bikinis. Fitness isn't skinny jeans. Fitness isn't those type of things. Fitness is just when you get up in the morning and you go, I feel better than I did yesterday. And we've lost that gift, and we've lost that ability as fitness professionals to translate that sometimes, because we tend to make it harder than it has to be for the client.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's what the I Choose Fitness is about. It's just making a declaration in the morning when you get out of bed, I choose fitness, instead of hitting the snooze. I'm gonna move more. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to work on my attitude. That's it. That's what fitness is. It's exercise, nutrition, and mindset. And the industry leaders that we've been interviewing from the medical field and the nutritional field, like Ocean Robbins and the Food Revolution group they just want to show people how to get more from what they're already doing, which is eating. Get better at it. Do you ever see these three industries working together, the medical industry, the fitness industry, and nutritional industry?
I've been in this so long that if you would ask me that question a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I would have told you absolutely no way in hell, Bob, will that ever happen. But in the last couple of years, I've seen the start of a crossover where I have a client I worked with for a number of years. She works in the Connecticut area. And, usually it's out of Stamford. She's in Florida now, going back and forth and working with clients that are actually back and forth. Her name's Allie Gilbert. She's specializes in guys over 50. And she was working with these stressed out, burned out CEOs that she, dug up out in Stamford because they're all commuting into the city in New York, and they're all just total waste cases. Guys sleep 4 hours a week. They're 40 years old already. They're having erection problems and all kinds of issues that come with guys that should be 70 and having those problems because they're already imploding at such a young age, 40, 50, 60, that they're kind of blowing themselves up. So her solution was maybe a first generation. There's a couple other people have done it. Janet Alexander did it out of San Diego. She was maybe the first to do this in the world. But she started pulling together doctors, and then they start to get blood work from the patients, get it to the doctor. The doctor looks at it, all the key indicators, and then sets Allie in motion. But they're doing everything from testosterone replacement to better nutrition. So I'm seeing that person come in, and then she was at that time business partner with a guy named Charlie Weinkraft, which is a PT, one of the better known names in our industry now, one of the young gurus that are really rising out there. So here's somebody that's rebuilding them structurally. She's working on their general fitness. Then we've got a doctor involved in the whole program. And Allie's coaching them on sleep and coaching them on lifestyle and coaching them on this. I'm looking at this going, oh my God, this is the first assembled team I think I've seen in the industry, and it works. You actually had players. Yeah. And then weirdly, Titleist Performance Institute did a great job of that almost a generation ago, where they would have golf coaches working locally with teaching coaches, working with trainers and nutrition people, and trying to rebuild their golfers with a three-dimensional approach. So I would have told you 2 years ago, Bob, you're doing some kind of strange drug off camera that we don't know about. But right now, I see the first overlap. I can start to see the layers build where the better coaches are reaching into the medical community. The medical community is understanding the value of a good coach for lifestyle changes. They're looking at people like PTs to restructure people that are damaged, which everybody over 40 is damaged, so to speak. And so they're working together with the trainers and coaches. And I'm like, wow, this is exciting. So yeah, I think we're very, you can peek over the ledge and see it. We're not there, but in the next 5 years, I think we will be there as more of these people become speakers, write their books. That generation of older coach fades. This new generation of gurus come in. The doctors now, I think, are more progressive, meaning they're not so, 10 years ago, a doctor would get out of med school and have 2 hours of nutrition training in his whole scope.
8 years,
and now,
right?
Now doctors are getting more, they realize the need for this. They're doing more self-education. They're understanding the process more. So I think we're kind of that tipping point where I'm just about ready to see it to go over the edge. So good question, Bob. Yeah, I think we're onto something there.
Yeah, it's interesting you just said that, Tom, because one of the interviews we did was Dr. Clapper, and we call him like the trainer to the trainers. When people are graduating med school, he's the guy they got to go through to actually figure out how to get a practice going. And he said the problem with the nutrition, you mentioned they only get about 2 hours of training in the 8 years. He said the reason for that is there's no questions on the exam. School is teaching you how to pass the exam. There's no questions on nutrition, so we're not going to teach it to you. because you don't need it. It's not on the exam. So him and Ocean Robbins and a lot of other people banded together, raised a lot of money and hired some experts to go work on those exams to now include nutrition. So that now, as people are graduating med school, realize nutrition is super important to not just keeping you healthy, but reversing the ailments that we do have. Like, do you believe, like you said earlier about, I'm sorry to cut you off, the type 2 diabetes, and your blood pressure goes down and your cholesterol goes down when you start walking and working out a little bit. So that's prevention. But do you believe we can reverse ailments with the proper nutrition, exercise, and mindset?
The funny thing about nutrition is we should be better. It's nutrition in the fitness industry in the first 20 years I was in it's almost like you get naked and sit in a tent with smoke and rub oil on your feet, and then chew on some peyote buttons or something, because it's like, oh, well, that's as good as any nutrition you're going to get in any book in any store. I just moved. I move every 4 or 5 years, and we did my last move. I had a bunch of old nutrition books, and I'm going, oh my God. I mean, these are, some of them are going back to the 90s, and I'm laughing at these going, you'd probably go to jail for publishing some of these books now. They're so just irresponsible. And I'm looking at them going, we're our own worst. We've made nutrition so hard for the consumer because there's no money in simple nutrition. Doing nutrition right, you don't make money. So you got to make it complicated and crazy, because somebody's got to justify at the end to write that book to make the crazy money. And you look back to Michael Pollan, you look back at, his stuff, eat toward the plant side and don't eat too much. That's really, you start throwing advice around like that, you're going to be unemployed, because, where do I make money telling people, just, eat less, move more? Well, that's not a business plan. That's not that's not a startup I can fund for $1 billion on Shark Tank. It's so that said, we've made nutrition really something harder than it should. And then the consumer's paid for that, because the consumer is lost. They have no idea. My brother lives in Southern Illinois. He's the brother, he's just a great guy, one of the best human beings I've ever met. Been married for, I guess, I don't know how many, 40 years, whatever, they're just forever, and just that type of, retired male man, he's the guy, so I was talking to my sister-in-law, and she was talking to me about nutrition. I'm going, oh my God. I mean, it's everything that she knows, and she's a school teacher. I mean, she's educated and, fairly well read, but everything that she knew was out of a magazine or social, somewhere, a social media post, that the things you're asking is like, oh my God, no, you don't have to do that. No, don't eat that. No, you don't have to starve to do this. No, you don't have to fast for 3 days. No, but her questions were the result of what we've created and the madness we've created. So I hope that breakthrough starts to come in the next couple of years, where as an industry, we get better information out. And as the doctors and the people that, are the first line of offense, meaning that the overweight struggling patient usually sees their doctors first, that they can have better talks with that person. And I had a doctor, this is less than 5 years, doctor's in there, and he was bragging to me that he had lost, like 10 pounds, and he was feeling good. And he says, I tell all my patients how I did it. And I said, well, what do you tell them? He goes, it doesn't matter if you eat an apple or a Snicker bars. They're the same the same calories. It's just, just watch your calories. But you could eat, and his whole deal was Snicker bar and apple. He said, it doesn't matter as long as you keep your calories down. And I was like, after they arrested me and put me on CNN for strangling this guy, is what I felt like doing. But you're thinking of like, how many clients does he see that because he's on some born again diet that's guiding him? So nutrition has to change in the fitness industry, but the consumer, all the folks that listen to this and all the good work you guys are doing, I so admire what you're doing with all your getting everybody together and trying to change this, and good on you guys. But if the consumer's out there, it's slow down, educate yourself, and start to look at the real books are out there. The real information is out there. Start to look at this and understand, because you have to take responsibility for your own nutrition. And it's not that hard. It's eating healthier choices. You don't need McDonald's 7 days a week. There's things like that we can do, but it's really the consumer has to take responsibility. But we, as a fitness industry and the medical community, need to be better at what we do, because we have to make this simple enough that, my sister-in-law goes, yes, I have a plan. And I'm comfortable with the plan because now I know, because I learned it myself. And we're just not there yet.
Right. Wow, that's great. And so now, what was the desire to change something, or she just really started tuning in over the years that I got to do a better job here with our nutrition, or was she reacting to something?
They live in my community where I grew up is, right across from St. Louis, Illinois, that whole belt across the Midwest through there, Indiana, Ohio. I mean, it goes all the way into Pennsylvania. There's that belt where, if the rest of the world gained 3 pounds a month during the virus, they gained 6. It's lifestyle, everything that you go out to dinner, everything's fried. You're eating a bag of chips for weekend because all your friends do. It's one of those areas where health and nutrition is a secondary concern. And then when you get older and gain weight, you want to lose the weight. Nobody has a plan. And most of the folks aren't people that go to gyms. They attempt to do fitness, but it's almost do it yourself. Right. And some of them do join gyms, but most of the folks I know back there are not active gym people, even though they should be in their 50s, 60s and pushing 70. So there's those pockets of the country where we just don't do a good job. And then I look at the doctors and go, okay, you guys need to do a better job in those areas. Right. But again, what's in it for the doctors? But even a basic supplementation, it's pretty standard even through the American Medical Association that, take an anti-inflammatory and maybe a multi, fish oil and a multi is, okay, that's not radical anymore. But start there, and then, get them walking, help them, but there's better things coming out. There's better writing on the food now. There's less crazy stuff coming. It's there, but boy, that's just something I wish we could. That's been probably one of my biggest frustrations, Bob, in 40 years, is that we know what to do with them, but we don't know how to support them as well as we should over the years. Right. And that secondary nutrition, it's almost afterthought in most gyms. The mainstream gyms, it's non-existent. The training gyms are so much better because the trainers are so much better and educated. Right. But still, even for them, it's not a primary. It is a secondary thing I add on to the workouts. And that gym, that bit part of the business is the future of the fitness industry, is that training gym. But even there, we're not as good as we're going to be in 5 years.
In the training gym, they'll be the first to tell you, you lose weight in the kitchen, you get in shape in the gym. And yet, if you ask people, what's your goal when you join the gym? They can say, I want to lose weight. Okay. You lose weight in the kitchen. You get in shape in the gym.
Yeah, we say that. And then I still see stuff on social media. There was a trainer ranting about his clients because of the sugar content. So he does not allow his clients to eat bananas or grapes. And I've been around a long time, and I can tell you, even from coming from Southern Illinois and all the places I travel the world, I've never seen one human being too fat because they ate too many grapes. Right. That's it. Yeah, it's not there. And a banana, oh my God, I eat a banana, and that's your weight problem, is the banana. Not the bottle of wine you had for dinner, that is, something like that. So the trainers kind of there's a generation, younger trainers that try to find their mark, and we don't have a consistent standard of nutrition. We should. Guys like Neil Spruce back in the day really tried to do some foresight with this through some of his companies. John Berardi, I think, did a really nice job. Precision nutrition, getting people educated on the habits and what's going on in nutrition. But there is no consistent approach across the industry that really helps, that gets us to that point. ACE, I think, has done a phenomenal job with that as a foundational layer, but I wish they went 5 layers deeper. It's
Right.
just we just not there, and it's just, and the client, that's the client. So that leaves the client. You got to educate yourself. You've got to go start to read the books on solid nutrition, about what to eat, and how food works and how food's going to affect your body, and not read the trend diets and the stupidity of a lot of the stuff that's out there. Although I see better and better books coming out all the time, there's still some wacky stuff on the fringe shelves that makes you kind of go, no, the diet of the week by some celebrity that's God knows what the hell happened to her, really. But,
Right.
I would just wish, Bob, overall, we would do a better job with it. We're just not there, but I think we will be in the next few years.
Yeah. I happen to agree that the confusion is really what makes people, they just give up. Like, I don't understand. Is sugar bad? Is sugar good? What kind of sugar? Where do I get that sugar? And that confusion makes you not even want to try. Like, somebody's they watch you on your new diet, and wait a minute, you can't eat grapes, you can't eat bananas. What are you doing? That's sugar. And now all of a sudden you just want to give up. Like, I throw in the towel.
Or you watch, the over 40 generation feeds the training gyms. Statistically, most markets, 85, 90% of all the clients in the training gym. Well, they still watch television. So, here's a guy that pulls up his pants and says, I lost 70 pounds on this national weight loss program. And, the food shipped to my door, and, oh my God. And so look what I'm eating. And here's a gooey pile of, crap. And it's like, but I can eat this. And it's like, oh my God, but that's nutrition for people. Because they don't know better. That's, to them, that makes sense. But the day you stop buying the food, because it's smaller portions, all they're obviously doing is gearing it down, trying to get you to, here, do a shake here instead of a donut. And, it's just, but once you stop the process, you don't know anything. Nothing's changed. You're still not responsible for your own health and well-being going forward. And that's the thing that I wish more people would think about is, the big thing is, if I could, again, throw out and rant to everybody, which thank you for putting up with these, it's the workouts and the nutrition you do today determines who you're going to be 10 years from now.
Right.
And so if you're 10 years older and now you're still going to start, well, yeah, you can change your world in 6 weeks, 12 weeks. You can make changes and you'll feel better in 2 or 3 days of just moving. But you're really laying a foundation for who you want to be in 10 years. So if you get to that magical age of 40 or 50, and now we get into, okay, guys are dying. A guy I know of, respected, one of the nicest reps I've ever met in the industry, just passed away this week. It's 59 years old. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, you start to see the people around you, but you're 45, 50 years old. And all of a sudden you're looking at your life going, I don't like my weight. I don't like how I feel. I don't like my energy. I don't like my sex life. I don't like anything about this. Where do I start? But the thing is, understand that every workout you do is going to make sure that when you're 60, 70, and 80, that you stay out on your own, you stay out of the nursing homes, you're actively involved in life later, you're out there playing with the kids, you are having sex, you are doing all the stuff that people still hope they can do. But a lot of people in their 40s now and 50s are giving those things up. They're actually losing the ability for a quality life now because they don't understand nutrition and they don't understand the value. When you say, choose fitness, choose fitness, because 10 years from now, everything you did is who you're going to be, or everything you didn't do is the responsibility. And at that point, it doesn't get easier when you turn 50. It doesn't get easier when you turn 60. If you're not good with your weight now and you're 30 and you're not doing anything, how do you think that's going to be when you're 40? And now you got to start. You won't start now, but you want to start then. And then it's like, take responsibility, figure it out, learn about it, because it is the quality of the rest of your life.
Such a great tip too, is look where you're going to be in 10 years from now. Like, even right now, because when you do that, you say, hey, I'm struggling now playing with the kids or the grandkids. Where am I going to be in 10 years? And some people are on 2 or 3 medications. 10 years from now, you're going to be on 10, 12 medications a day just to get through the day. And nobody wants that, but they don't realize that they have a choice now to prevent that.
Yeah. Well, personal responsibility, that's my rant of the week. That's probably the lost art in all of this. But of all the stuff you talk about, it's probably nothing more important than personal responsibility and nutrition and health, because nobody can make you do the work. Nobody
Right.
can. You have to educate yourself enough to be able to guide yourself forward on what you want to do. Then you can pick a better coach. You can figure out if that coach does make sense. But you have to do that. But it's surprising how many people willfully give up their health.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the saddest things. It is one of the problems I have from traveling. I'm just everywhere. The last year I worked, 2019, I was in 5 different countries that year.
Wow.
2020, I would have been in 5, probably 6 more countries that year. And when you go and see how people live in other countries and their lifestyle, you go to Australia and you go, oh my God, I've got to shape up to go there. Because
Yeah.
they're just, the country moves. They're having some obesity issues now because we're exporting that from America, but but the lifestyle, how people choose to live and stuff, it's just the culture is so much more supportive of that. Here's like in Southern Illinois, as I'm mentioning, Southern Indiana markets, the culture doesn't work that way. The culture works against getting in shape because everybody kind of that common denominator is such that no.
Yeah, even when you go into the food store, all the bad food is right there for the taking. You actually have to walk around the outside of the store to get the good stuff. If you shoot down those middle aisles, you're going to be in trouble. That's all the processed food, quick and easy, microwave it, and you're on your way. All right, let's shift gears for a second. Let's say, personally, like when the gyms opened up, I couldn't wait to get back because I need the motivation, accountability that a gym provides, knowledge of the trainers in there. Doing it on my own, I need to work out to feel okay, but I wasn't doing anything that I should. So I get back to the gym. I'm happy there. Now, you get a call from a governor. This is a hypothetical, right? And they all view this differently. Some governors really looked at gyms as if the place where COVID grew out of and it all originated in a gym somewhere. And other governors are like, hey, we got to get people moving again. And somewhere in between is where most of the rest lied. But they know what the gym advocacy groups are going to say if they ask them, so they're not going to ask them. They call Tom Plummer and they say, hey, Tom, we got to shut down. I got to make a list of gyms or businesses I can keep open and consider essential. Would you consider a gym an essential business to keep open if they ever had to shut down again?
Well, the trick question on that is which gyms, because that's what the consumer, I think, needs to know. And that's what we need to look at internally is that the gym business is not one big business. It's really 2 businesses. It's separated starting in the late 90s. And it's really now 2 completely different business tracks. To me, it's 2 complete different industries altogether, and very few people recognize that. I was doing education for one of the largest equipment companies in the world, and we're doing their annual sales meeting, and I'm laying out, I said, you need reps for the training side, just do nothing but there. You need reps for the mainstream business side because they're different entities altogether. And their sales managers and their stuff are going, well, that's crazy. Our guys can cross over. And I go, they can't. They won't, because the gym business side, the training gym side itself, training centric business model, they have their own gurus. There's not a guy. I would give you this in some of my workshops. Last where I was teaching, I'd have 150, 180 people in the room, and they're almost all of them are serious gym owners, but they own coaching, training centric gyms with 300, 400 members tops. But everybody's getting a lot of help in those gyms. I can tell you that not one of those guys in the room could probably even spell URSA. That's, and the other side is all these big mainstream gyms that they have 5-6% of their clients in actually doing training. The rest is you're in the equipment rental business.
Right.
And as it's gone this way, the future is going to be the training gym, because that's the help the client needs to go forward. That's the help the client has to have. So if I'm talking to the governors, And I'm going to go, so which gyms do you want to shut down? I wish the training gyms were actually classified as chiropractors, physical therapists, as wellness. And most of my clients I've worked with over the years, that when they open new businesses, we petition the cities and by code to try to get classified so you don't get shut down. But so talking to the governor, I'm going, if I have a big box gym with 4,000 clients and I'm charging, $10 a month, I don't understand how that guy could keep that gym moderately safe.
Right.
You are you really going to take out half of your equipment and put it in storage every other treadmill? Are you going to social distance, that type of thing? And how are you going to do social distancing in that when everybody's sitting shoulder to shoulder because the equipment is so packed together?
Mm-hmm.
It's physically almost impossible to take a mainstream gym and turn it into a safety zone. Many of them claim to do that. A lot of video out there to do that, but boy, that's hard. I had a very successful client up in Wisconsin that did that. A guy named Ben, very good operator, but he took out half his equipment, put it in storage. He had a spare, big group room, which obviously we didn't need the virus, and shoved every other treadmill in there, spaced out of his equipment. So I'm looking at this. Here's a 25,000 square foot gym. I'm like, he's the poster child for what a mainstream guy could do, but they won't. The training gyms, I would tell the governors, is the training gyms, by the nature of how they train people, are already conducive for that. So even if I have a group concept where I have 10 people running down the floor pushing sleds, I can cut that to 8 people and spread them out. Mm-hmm. But we also, again, are worse at, if you take the circuit style gyms and you have 18 people 30 people in 1,800 square feet trying to do cardio and then weights and kind of progress. How do you social distance in that facility? How do you keep people safe in that? It's just, so we've set up almost an impossible standard. So I would have to tell the governor, I said, if they're classified as a training gym, you're probably going to be okay. But the rest of them, we're kind of our own worst enemy. And I also think we're going to be another wave of the virus will probably come toward us soon. And I think we're going to go back to mandates in some states, and we're going to have some issues. And so I think that governor's going to be calling somebody. So the gym owners, I would tell them, make sure that you can do what you promised to do. So I'll lie and tell the governors, gym business is where they need to be. We can do the right thing, but the gym owners need to take responsibility. Can you do the right thing? Can you that? And the gym owners, the independents, the training gym guys, those guys in the 3, 6, 8,000 foot gyms, you need to have some representation in your state that gets you separated from the main box guys. And that's the next big thing coming out of the virus, I think, is that ability to get groups together to separate the training gyms from the mainstream guys, so we have our own identity in those states, and the government can go, class B gyms, no, class A gyms, you're open. That's where I think it has to go. And I think we need to do the work now, because we learned from the virus that we're not all in the same pile.
Great answer. And that's another way that your brain works that most people don't think to that level. Like you're going down a couple of levels saying, no, it's who's walking through the front door we got to protect. And you probably can't do it with this group. And when you were describing what some of the people are doing, we have a client in Portland that did the same thing. He got rid of 50% of his equipment right away, and they were one of the last states to open up. He just donated it to a scrapyard. He goes, I try to figure out storage and bring it. He goes, maybe I just want to have a cleaner, easier gym to work with, and this looks so much better here. So to the scrapyard it went, and then they had other challenges. They had to wait for COVID to leave, then the riots to leave, then COVID came back, and so. But he did the right thing. So when they opened, people flocked to him. They were so busy when it first opened back up, and because word gets out too. If you're afraid of your gym, come to mine. You should see what mine did, and that's what happens as well, because people brag about it.
That's a huge, I'm sorry to jump back in on that. That just got me so fired up on that one. That's so, it's there, 85, 90% of your clients come from within 3 to maybe 5 miles of your gym, depending on if you're metro or further out in the suburbs. But your clients are there. So in your little market, your market is much smaller than you think when you open a gym. So everybody does know what every gym's doing in town. Everybody has a story about their gym. That's why you stay out of politics. That's why you always do the right thing with clients. That's why you work on your personal brand and keep it so spotless, because your market is not the state. Your market's a 3-4 mile ring around your gym, and that's it. That's all you get. So you got to look. When you look around your area, go, okay, I get one shot at this. So what do I want that client to think about my brand? I've got to control that every breathing moment of my life, because if I screw that up, it's really hard to bring back a damaged brand. And I see all these actors that come out of, okay, you were accused of this, this bad thing, this bad thing, this bad thing. And now they're like, I'm back, I'm different. And everybody's going, you're back, but nah, we've moved on. We've moved on to other things. So, and the guy that took his equipment out, that's brilliant, because I've been ranting about that for most of my 40 years, is make more money from fewer people. I'd rather have clients that will pay a little more because they want to be in a better gym than try to drop my price and just shove everybody in a box. Does that plan work? Yeah, there's a couple national chains that base it on sheer volume. But in a virus, a client is also different. We just don't service all clients. There's a certain client that wants the help, and there's a certain client that just wants to rent equipment.
Right.
So when we create businesses these days, that's why there's 2 tracks. There's the mainstream and there's the training centric. Well, there's 2 clients. The clients in the top 40 to 50% buy money, and then the clients that just want to rent equipment because they want cheap. So the clients forced us into those gyms. So the client, I'm talking to all the people listening to this, you need a coach. You have an accountant, you have a doctor, you have an attorney if you get sued or, DUI'd or something. We have professionals that support us. Even if you only see your trainer once a month to set you in motion at home to do something, it's worth spending once a month if you can come up with the money to have a guide on the path. So get help at home. Find a coach that you trust. If you have a little more money, but again, I'd rather spend a couple $100 a month if I can on supporting my lifestyle, who I'm going to be in 10 years, how I interact with my kids, my spouse, how I live my life, what my weight is, how I feel. If I'm going to waste any money this month, it's going to be there, not another $300 pair of sunglasses I don't need.
Right. Yeah, we could always find it, and affordability is in direct proportion to desirability. So when people realize that this is, my health is my responsibility and I can fix a lot of things. I love the analogy of looking down the road 10 years, because it makes these decisions today so much easier. Like, yeah, I want to do this right now because where I'm going to be in 10 years is going to be much healthier, happier. I'm going to be able to do the things I want to do. And this is my opportunity to take care of that. There's a lot of uncertainty out there too. Like because of the different information going around, people are afraid of gyms still. They're opened up in a lot of places, and yet they're still slow to come back. What can you do to control that? Like, how do you take control of that narrative? Like you're saying, my brand is part of my narrative, but now other people are saying bad things about your brand or about your industry.
Own your own brand. That sounds like a trite thing somebody to throw out in a social media workshop, own your brand. But what that really means is if you don't talk, the client tends to make up stories in their head. So if I have a good gym, I'm going to spend stuff, and marketing made simple for any small business is testimonials. Right. I've got 200 clients in a training gym. I've been in business 10 years. I'm going to let my people speak for me. I don't have to brag or be in my own ads. I just let my people speak for me. Well, if I have, here's Sarah, and she's 45 years old and she's not in perfect shape, but she's in much better shape than she's ever been. And she's just bubbly, and she looks in the camera and goes, like we were talking about our mutual friend, Phil, I work out at Phil's gym, and it's the best thing I've ever done. And oh my God, this is the cleanest gym. I'm a nurse, and this is the cleanest gym in the area. And I feel safe in here. And then we put that out 7 days a week in social media, and people scroll and go, oh, well, that's I know her. She's a nurse here at the
Right.
hospital. All of a sudden, or a school teacher, or all of a sudden because they recognize, because it's 3 miles. You just send your social
Yeah.
media out. But here's Sarah going, this gym is so clean. I'm a nurse. I go there. I'm like, okay, check that off. So you have to validate in the consumer's head. You have to let the consumer know, this is how I feel. This is why we do it. This is how I'm going to keep you safe. And I'm going to do 365 days a year, little testimonial stuff. All my guys, we actually had them in hazmat suits. We got the cool helmets and the Home Depot sprayer, and so they're walking through the gym just soaking down the virus, and they got the suit on, and so the guy says, start outside, show the video. The guy walks up and goes like this, and the door opens, and I said, you don't even have to touch the door. You come in, staff's got the mask on. Here's all the bottles. You get your own hand sanitizer, your towel, go out on the floor. If you want to wear gloves, we have a box of the disposable gloves, and social distancing. Here's the equipment spread out. Here's how people, just, over and over and over and over again, because I got to control my brand. I got to own my brand. And so most guys are reactive. They only do that stuff when they get hurt. Proactive means every day I'm creating the brand I want to have, but I want people to know I'm safe. I want people to know that I am the gym that is different. I am the guy doing the right thing. So I never put my competition down. I just outmarket him by just controlling that. But also, I have a responsibility as a gym owner to keep people safe. And I have to let them know that I am doing the right thing. I am ethical. I am professional. And don't let me tell you that, because nobody believes me, the owner, but here's a nurse, here's a school teacher, here's a doctor, here's a respected people in the community, and going, I feel safe in this gym. Tom's doing the right thing. And that's what I'm trying to get done.
Right. And a big change now is social media is available where 10 years ago it wasn't available. People didn't have Facebook pages, Instagram pages, Twitter accounts, and now you can talk to your community directly with those quick little videos. And at the same time, you're making a hero out of that member. So does that mean you're going to be running TikTok classes soon?
No, there's a point of common sense tells me that, every year I try to stay ahead, what's new on social media, what I do. And then when they got to TikTok, I go, I'm just too damn old. I quit there. I'll leave that to you, Bob. You can teach that now. That's the one I drew the line, and that's just the scope of it, though. But if you think about that, every couple of years, I wrote my first Facebook post, I think, in 2011. And I get enough post out of that to actually turn it into a book. The Soul of the Trainer. I kind of I just wrote so much crap on there that I had to do something with it. And but I've looked now. I mean, think 2011. There was no Instagram. Right. LinkedIn was barely alive, if they were even then. TikTok is a very, very new phenomenon here. Clubhouse, that surged last year. I haven't heard anything on that in the last 6 months. I don't know if that's raging or that, but I'm not getting that 30 invites a week now. Right. And you look at those, but if you're controlling your brand, that's why most of the gym guys, I tell them to get a full-time marketing company or a full-time marketing guy. You need a 40-hour-a-week marketing person that interfaces in a company like yours, where you control the infrastructure, but I want somebody there to pick up the culture of my gym. You shoot the videos. I'll pay you to learn how to do it. We'll get a decent camera, because I want to control the quality and the output, but I've got to output 6 to 7 days a week. Right. So marketing is going to be one of those things that's tough. So when you're a gym potential person and you look in the area, one, who makes you feel comfortable? And then two, go in. My big thing to all the consumers listening to this is never, ever join a gym without a trial. Most of my clients worldwide, and I'm still coaching guys everywhere in the world. Stupid amount of people still are out there trying to fight it out all over the place. Right. Yep. But almost all my clients are doing 6-week trials, since that we switched from 30-day trials to 6-week trials early in the virus, because we wanted to prove to the consumer that we're different. Here, just try us. Here's 6 weeks. At the end of 6 weeks, if you don't like it, go away. Yep. But I would tell every consumer, unless I'm offered a trial, that, and especially in a real training style gym, I wouldn't do it. No one should have to make up their mind in less than 30 days. A good gym will offer you at least a 30-day trial. And if they're not willing to do that, then they're not a good gym, because they're not willing to stand behind their product. And so consumers, you have to, pick and choose carefully. There's good gyms in your area. Try 3 or 4 of them. Find a coach. But again, can you do it on a trial? If I can't start on a trial, I probably wouldn't do it.
Great point. Yeah, and we fight that same battle too, where we're saying trials are everything. You're giving somebody the opportunity to say, this looks like the place for me. Let me make sure it's a good fit. But there's a lot of things you want to test out. Is it convenient? Can I get in and out? Do the people really care about me? Am I going to feel comfortable here? Is it an easy place? Like, is my tribe here the people I like to be around? And you don't know that in the first couple of hours. But you give somebody some time in there, they'll figure that out pretty quick. And I know in the past 15 months have really been crazy on everybody. So people that want to get back to work, they go in there and they say, let me give this a shot, but they're still nervous, they're apprehensive, and they're uncertain. That's even more the reason to try and put them at ease and say, look, nothing to lose here. Give us a shot. Stay with us for 30 days. Stay with us for a week, 10 days, whatever it may be. And at the end, make your decision. Can you give us an example? Go ahead.
Oh, I can say that's just what a huge point. That if you think about it, we're all fitness virgins in the last 18 months. No, most people in the country have not been in a gym on a regular basis, if at all, in 18 months. We're all do-overs. We're all resets, start-over projects. So even what you thought you knew before you go, it's going back into this, for the 95% of us that are just been sitting at home, you got to go back slow, that it is worth spending some time to dig it out. But that's be patient with yourself. You are really coming back from the dead. You're
sure.
So so you gain 20 pounds, big deal. It'll come off. It will, but not tomorrow. And
right.
But you're moving, you're trying, you're back, and that's a good thing. But again, the trial, just try out a few gyms to try out that stuff. Yep. And it's good business for the gyms too. So if you run a good gym, it's like the old puppy dog clothes. Hey, Bob. Oh, thanks for stopping by my pet shop on Friday afternoon. Oh, you got your little girl with you. I'm just going to close the shop. How about you take this little golden retriever puppy home for the weekend? And, if the kid doesn't like it, bring it back Monday. Well, nobody's brought back ever a used puppy. It's just you can, you're giving me the eye like, no, dude, I got to buy the puppy now because the kid's holding the puppy. And, but it's the same thing in the gym business. I got a great gym. I got a great staff. My members are the best people in the community. Try it. Yep. And I'm going to give you 6 weeks. I'm going to give you a fair price. I'll let you try everything in the gym, one-on-one, small group, team. I got it all. At the end of 6 weeks, if I haven't earned your business, I don't deserve to have you. But it's the puppy dog clothes, because if I do my job right, I service the guy to death, and my members are all like, hey, welcome to the club. My staff is like, hey, and everything's good. Then, dude, nobody's going to turn down that trial. Yep. It's so it works for the gym, but it's also fair to the client, and both people have to win in this type of business if it's going to last.
And they appreciate that too. They really do. It's a lot better than being hammer dunked by a salesperson that has to hit quota.
Oh God.
That feeling, and that's part of the reputation gyms had over the years too. They went through the phases where that's what they were trying to do. They put 2 people in a lobby and they would just hammer dunk everybody that walked through the front door until they said yes.
Still doing that. There's a lot of those. Sadly, some of the questionable chains are still got the little sales offices, and you sit behind a desk and you get pounded on the special of the day, so you can sign up today. And sadly, there's the training gyms, not so much. That's why, again, 2 different. The industry really has segmented into 2 different industries, and the training side just doesn't do that. They've kind of outgrown that, and the other side still clings to 40-year past.
Now you committed to this industry 40 years ago, and we did 20 years ago. And what is your opinion on the types of people that are buying in franchises, buying gyms, like the type of human being that you can run into or expect to see here?
That's what it's so all over the board. If you look, the people getting in the industry are really coming from, again, 2 types. the people that on the training side that open, I just, one of my consulting calls this morning with a guy in Pennsylvania that's opened a gym. I've known this guy for probably 3 years now. He's been working on his gym project. He's training, he's got a little space, but he's getting a bigger gym. And this guy is it sounds old school corn dog, but his heart is pure. He just does the right thing for the clients. He wants to create this thing he works with upper scale clients in this town out in the middle of the state. He's classy, he's well-spoken, and he's educated. He's gone through, all the major training protocols and certified. And here's a guy that's wanting to open. On the other side of the stuff, some of the mainstream people, it's the franchises, especially, that they sometimes they get into them for the wrong reasons. And it's not an easy business plan. And even though it may be sold that way, this is a very difficult business because it's so customer service intensive.
Right.
And we're not like McDonald's where, okay, Bob, you got to use this straw from this vendor. The McDonald's truck will be in with all your stuff and everything is, you're out, you just buy because it's controlled. Gym business is too esoteric, too whoopee, this is like guys all over there. So trying to get that guy to franchise is tough. That's why there's only been a few. Probably Anytime Fitness is the best representation of a company that started out. They used to have those cameras so you could sit at home and watch your gym, and the thing kind of takes care of itself, and you do that. And they were right at the time, and now they've evolved it into, now they're becoming actually one of the better training companies in the country. They really have done some good work. It's very professional of how they've let the company evolve, and most franchises don't do that. But if you look beyond that, there's not a whole lot of guys that have let the guys evolve, so to speak, and to let them go. So it's the people coming into that side of the business. I'm not so sure you're going to see much growth. In fact, I think you're going to see negative growth on the mainstream side, meaning they're going to close more in the next 5 years than will be opened in those segments. A lot of cheap real estate out there now standing empty as every, Sports Authority, Macy's, Penny's, God knows who else is closed. There's, how many 600 empty Kmarts in the country, maybe, sitting around. But who's going to go into that and fight that battle where I can go into a smaller training gym and do, $1.5 million in 6,000 feet and keep half of it, or I could do $1.5 million in 20,000 feet and keep $1.12. It's just, there's just no carry back and forth there. So again, the economics are going to drive the industry toward the training centric model because the return is better, the risk is lower, and the client is heading that direction anyway. The big box gym, I think, is death. So I don't see a lot of growth there. In fact, I think negative growth. As you see them, the big guys roll up them. Yeah, here we go again. They're going to roll up the shut down the we opened 2 new this year. Well, they don't have to report that they closed 12 because they just didn't renew their leases. Right. So they're not closures. We just didn't renew our lease. But we opened 2, and that makes all the, whatever magazines are left makes those, but we don't see the real results. So I think we're going to see negative growth on that side for at least the next 5 years.
Such an important point too, because if you look at the consumers full of fear, uncertainty, we're not sure yet, and you walk through the front door and you're treated like a number, you feel that right away. You say, maybe this isn't the right place for me. You go into the other one, it's like, hey, let's work with you. What are you hoping to achieve? What are your goals? And you feel that too. So there is a big difference to the consumer, and that's where the vote counts, right?
Yeah, but there is a consumer. I mean, Golden Corral, $10, including your drink and steak, and and then there's Capitol Grill, where $100 will get you a decent bottle of wine, $60 will get you the steak of the day. And that's just there's clients for both of that. That's. If my brother's buying, my brother takes me to Golden Corral. If I'm buying, we go to Capitol Grill. So for everybody, there's a guy for both markets. But the industry is moving toward that better, higher quality product because the coaches are better. 10 years ago, you could be a great coach, and that was really a differentiator in the market. but now it's a basic expectation. So everybody's a good coach. So now how do you stand out? So now it's the delivery systems behind it. Now it's the amount of education I have, my ability to apply that to a bigger variety of clients. We're just getting better on that side. The other side is not so much. So the industry, the economics are forcing us toward that training-centric model anyway. The big guys, if they want to survive, they need to get to the point where 40, 50% of their clients are actually training clients instead of 5.6 or 6.2 or numbers I've seen from some of the chains that just don't connect. So it's a weird time. That's why I'm still hanging around, Bob, it's all these, 40 over, almost 45 years now. And it's probably is 45 years now. But it's really just getting interesting.
Yeah, you want to see where this is all going to land, right?
Yeah. So I kind of hate to leave the dance, but it's just really kind of getting fun now.
Who's that? I'm thinking of Nostradamus. You're the Nostradamus of the fitness world, so you want to see where all your predictions actually landed out too, how they all play out.
Maybe I know we're over time, and thank you for your patience on that. So let me, if you don't mind, I'll throw out one point more for the people I hope are watching this. In the 70s, smoking was, you could go into restaurants and smoking sections. I remember when I first started traveling for a living that the row in front of you was the smoking row. You were in the non-smoking row, one seat back, but the air just, all the stuff, everybody was smoking whether they wanted to or not.
Right.
And if you think about that, how bizarre was that? In the 50s, doctors were even talking about smoking as a health aid. Well, I only smoke this cigarette because it's the healthiest cigarette. And, I recommend this to my clients because it's going to, less cancer. I don't know what the thought process was on that. And then the pendulum swung back. The pendulum always swings back. And at weight, obesity, the pendulum is fully extended. And it's going to come back. And if you look through every trend going back to as far as recorded in this country, every trend has a swing, a peak, comes back, excessive. If you look at prohibition in the 20s, prohibition got to a certain point, and then it swung back because it wasn't a lifestyle that wasn't conducive. It just didn't work. Everything extreme comes back. We're here. We're about as fat as we can be. And the trend culturally is going to bring us back. You start to see that now where people are more interested in fitness, even though I don't think home fitness paying $50 a month for a program is the solution for a lot of people. It's there. It's a start. They're digging. They're looking. In the next 5 years, this pendulum is going to come back. And that's all it took for the smoking to correct. It was about 5 years, where it was banned in restaurants and banned everywhere. You couldn't smoke in public buildings. You couldn't smoke in front of public buildings. Now you can't smoke 100 yards from public buildings. And that took a long time, but the 5-year swing was there. We're in the middle of that now. We're probably right here, just coming down. So I think that's why it's a great time to be a gym owner, but it's a great time to be a consumer because you have more choices. But if you're a consumer and you're sitting at home and you're not feeling good about your weight, congratulations, you're part of a big wave that's going to change because none of us feel good about it. The doctors will get better. The nutrition will get better. The coaching is already getting better, and we're going to swing back. So the next 5 years, it's going to be more like Denmark, Sweden, and this stuff where it's not cool to be overweight. It's not a status thing. It's more like nobody goes, no, they're not angry about it. They just go, that's not who we want to be. And I think people are already now going, it's not cool to be overweight. That's not who I want to be. I want to be healthy. I want to be with my kids. I want to be sexually active. I want to get promoted at work because I feel and look and have the energy to lead. And we're coming here. So this is why I'm saying it's a great time. But for the consumer, that's what you're feeling, and that's what you got to go with. But it's moving this way, and I love it.
Well, here's the $1 million question then, Tom. You're obviously in good shape. You take care of yourself. You got energy. Your travel schedule proves that, most 30-year-olds couldn't handle the schedule that you put down on the calendar. Obviously, COVID stopped that. But what is it? Fill in the blank. I choose fitness over what for you?
Oh, geez, I stumbled last year. I wish I was, as everybody does, wish they were in better shape. We moved in the middle of it. We moved at Christmas, and I'm like, I'm getting up there in age. I'm like, I'm going to eat that.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to drink that extra glass of wine, and then then as soon as I get off today, I'm going to go work out. I've got to go because I feel the pain and stuff like that. So we all feel that. We all feel that need to get back in shape. We all feel that limit, I think. So as time progresses and we start to fight that battle a little more, we start to feel that. So when I choose fitness, why? I choose fitness because, wow, that's a great question. On a negative one, I don't want to be the 45-year-old person that's so overweight at Walmart that they have to hang on the back of the cart because they have no structural support. I don't want to be the 70-year-old guy that has to give up golf because he can't get out of his car, can't walk anymore, just can't even move his shoulders, his hips. I don't want to be the person that gives up their sex life, when they're, by choice when you're 50 because you refuse to sleep and you stress yourself out over a job nobody will care about 2 years after you're dead.
Right.
So I can give you a lot of negative reasons like that, but I choose fitness. Why? I choose fitness because it's my life. It's a gift. I just wrote something about that today. I wrote a poem about it. I write a lot of poetry these days. I've got a book coming out on that at the end of the year. And the poem is, I had a friend that was dying and laying in his bed, holding his wife's hand, whispering love to his kids and begging God for another day, hour, minute. And there's so many people that waste their life, and by being so out of shape that you can't enjoy your life, you're wasting the gift. This guy would have traded his soul laying on this bed for another, hour with his family. And here's people that they eat to the point they can't move. They eat to the point that it's ridiculous. They can't function anymore. They're so obese. They just don't even, they beyond, looking good. Is that fat shaming? No, but it's reality. And the reality is there's a certain point where, you've got to live. I choose fitness because I choose life.
Right.
I choose fitness because I whatever time I have left here, I don't want to waste it. I want that sense of being as good as I can be. I don't want to give up my life. It's a gift. It's precious, and it's something that people take for granted. And here's my friend laying there. What could he have done different? Probably not much. But you know what? It's what happened. But how many people sitting out here are wasting their lives? Choose fitness because you choose life. Choose fitness because you're worth it. To me, fitness is a personal valuation. It's a personal look inside, and it's just, I'm just not willing to waste my life, or my value as a human being. To me, I have to put a certain standard on that, and that's my health and my fitness and how I want to live. I could rant on this one for an hour. Sorry, Bob, I just get so into that. So,
yeah. And that's really what it's all about. I could hear your heart talking right there. And if that poem is available, will you put them on Medium, right? That's one of your main platforms. I'll link to it because I think it's a great way for people to really reflect on what we just talked about for the last hour or so. It really is a personal choice, and you just did an awesome job bringing this whole thing together.
Yeah, I choose fitness because I choose me.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bob. I know I've way ran you over today. You're so gracious.
There's no need to apologize. You're welcome. We're so happy to have you on here, Tom, and to be able to pick your brain a little bit. I'm sure that you've affected some people. We'll put some contact information on your page, so if they want to reach out, they'll find a way to do that as well. And your books too, for any of the folks that are tuning in here from the fitness industry, they should do themselves a favor and get a couple of your books as well.
Yeah, some of the later ones are still out there. There's a whole bunch floating around, but anybody might enjoy Soul of a Trainer. It's really about life and stuff. It's just all kinds of short things and poetry and stuff. And that book sold really well. That was a pleasant surprise. That did so well worldwide and Audible too. But I think it's for most people, the making more money in the fitness business. Not the first one, Making Money. That's 20 some years old. It's the revised one, Making More Money. That one is probably you're in the fitness business and you're struggling with your gym, that's a good reference book. It's still valid. The marketing's a little dated and it's a couple of years old because that changes weekly, but everything else in the book is very solid about how you should run a business today for that consumer that we all want.
Well, this is like the ripple effect, and I hope that you get some of the feedback just from today. The work you've done for the last 40 years has helped thousands and thousands of gym owners around the world, but you have to stop for a second and think of the millions of people that had a place to go work out because of you. Those businesses wouldn't have survived, wouldn't have made it, wouldn't have attracted the new members. To be able to sit back and think the ripple effect from what Tom Plummer has done to this world and this planet, and how many people are in good shape and enjoying their final 10 years on the planet because of you and the work that you've done. So it really is an honor to have you on here as a guest, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much. Fitness has allowed me to drink good beer in multiple countries with a lot of crazy people. So we're
going to get that bottle of wine out, and you're going to tell me the real deal on what the owners were telling you one day. We'll have that
I'll find
dinner
you for that sometime. Yeah, we'll do that. So thanks, Bob.
You're welcome, Tom. And on behalf of Alan Boucher and the rest of the team at I Choose Fitness, we really appreciate you taking the time for us.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.